Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. If this is your first time here, welcome. Today we're going to talk about the differences between bump and ballistic helmets, what the purposes are, configurations, and things of that nature. Which one's best for you? We're not going to be able to answer that question, but maybe this will give you enough information that you can. So, let's get into it. So real quick to start, if you want to support the channel and you like videos like this, which I know you do like videos like this, please hit the like, share, subscribe button, hit that notification bell. It shows the people out there that you are an intelligent human being, that you understand quality videos with an unbiased view and a lot of information. Don't you want to show everybody that you're that smart? I know I sure would, so hit that subscribe button. So helmets, what are they for? Well, they're basically dual purpose. They're number one, to carry some of your crap. In helmets cases, oftentimes this is going to be a light source, ear protection, signaling, and of course night vision or some sort of a optic that clamps or that goes into your mount. Second is to protect your melon. This being a ballistic helmet, this is a 3A ballistic protection, and this is just like a high polymer, a high strength polymer plastic type helmet. So this being a bump lid is just for bumps, exactly what it says. It's for if you happen to maybe fall over, hit your head on a branch, hit your head on a part of a vehicle, things like that. They serve no ballistic protection. They may serve a small amount of fragmentation protection, but that's about it. Ballistic helmets are, of course, ballistic rated. This again being 3A, made of Kevlar and aramid Kevlar. They're the same thing. I've seen people say that aramid is like crap compared to Kevlar, and those people don't know what they're talking about, because Kevlar is aramid and aramid is Kevlar. A common misconception about ballistic helmets is that they are or are not NIJ certified. The NIJ does not, I repeat, the NIJ does not certify ballistic helmets. However, there is independent testing within ballistic helmet manufacturers that they use sort of NIJ standards. Those standards being the same standards that we use for body armor. So NIJ, or the 3A ballistic helmet, is supposed to be capable up to 44 Magnum, just like 3A body armor. So another common misconception about ballistic helmets is the bulletproof nature of them. So you can shoot these direct on shot with various calibers and get up to minimal backface deformation. However, you get up into the higher calibers of 3A rating, and the backface deformation is going to you're not probably going to see home. They're made for fragmentation, high-speed fragmentation protection. They're made for light strikes. They're made for glancing blows, things like that. You can shoot them directly on. However, backface deformation is a problem when it comes to only about that much padding in them, and maybe an inch of padding or something like that in them, and you have a helmet that has turned inside out. Now, some helmets are better than others. Some helmets are made better than others. So just understand that the ballistic protection is sort of it's not quite the same as ballistic protection when it comes to body armor. Now, this is a Ballistic Armor Co. Gen 2 helmet. This is a Ballistic Armor Co. Gen 2 helmet, 3A rated, 3A tested, and this is sort of a I can't even remember who makes this. I got it off of Amazon. It's just a bump helmet, so I wasn't really concerned about the name brand of it, but it fit my head it does what I need it to do, and so this is the bump helmet that I have. This has a Agilite helmet cover on it. This has a helmet cover that came with it. So let's start there. Let's start with helmet covers. Why a helmet cover? Well, on ballistic helmets with the 3A Kevlar can degrade over time. So this not only gives you camouflage ability by being able to put whatever helmet cover on you want. There's woodland, there's all kinds of different patterns, but it also helps protect your helmet from the sun, from the weather, from getting scratches on it when walking through various trees and whatnot, because every time it gets a scratch in it, you potentially expose the material to harsher environments and faster breakdown. So the number one thing, in my opinion, with helmet covers is the protection of the helmet when it comes to ballistic helmets. Secondarily is the camouflage ability, and tertiary is the ability to route wires and mount things like your strobes here, patches, and whatnot. Because most most helmet covers come with shock cord, various loops and things like that in order to run wires, comms wires, night vision wires, things like that. So the third thing for me is the ability to route things or mount Velcro things to your head. Now on the back side of both of these, I have the battery pack for this, I just don't have it here. There is usually some sort of a field of Velcro in the very back in order to mount or put on a battery pack of some sort or counterweights for your night vision. So you can secure them with your bungee as well, but this field of Velcro back here is what it's for. While we're back here, I have, if you notice, they both are kind of set up the same. I'm a creature of habit. Ears, strobe, lights. I have some strobes here. These are both these are both IR and visible strobes. So this guy here, I'm just going to use one helmet right now for this demonstration. So you have your ears on it, so you have your arc rails on the side. Here's where you mount your ears. You can also mount a light. I like these Princeton Tech lights. These Princeton Tech lights, you can kind of move them all over the place. They're very low lumen lights. In this case, the ones that I have on these lids are red and white, so they have a low and high of red, and then I can't remember the lumen, I think 100 lumen output in white light. And they're a task light. They're a task light for map reading, checking something that's directly in front of you, things like that. However, they also make for nice umbrella lighting. So if you have, say, the low level red light on and you're in a completely dark environment, your night vision is not doing as much as it could be doing. So a low vis red light used as umbrella lighting, meaning shining up, really helps in that case. Now moving around to the front, you have your mount for your night vision or GoPro or whatever it is you're going to mount to it, and you have your retention bands on both of them. Now these retention bands are not necessarily to keep the night vision on your head, they are to keep the night vision from wobbling too much. That's really the purpose of these bands, is to keep any wobble down to a minimum. So these are really nice to have. You can screw around with the retention of them, things like that normally. And of course, they're replaceable parts as well. For comms, I use a set of knockoff comms here. I think they're made by a company called Here Angel. I don't remember, they're right around $100 a piece, 120 or something like that. And they seem to work really well. They come with the plug, they come with push to talk, and you can take them right to your civilian type Baofeng radio. These are 3M mounts, so these are 3M mounts for my Ear Pro. You can also use the rear mounted mounts that mount back here if you want more space at the top, and they have the lockout feature, right? So you push them into your head, you push them into your ears when you're using them, and you can cool your freaking head off by unlocking them like that, but still be able to use your comms. So you can have these unlocked and still be able to hear what's going on. Inside, I really like Ballistic Armor Co.'s padding and suspension system. So I think they call this their BOA suspension system. This has a very different suspension system in it, although I have converted this to mostly Ballistic Armor Co. padding. I really like Ballistic Armor Co. stuff. It's impossible to get a hold of them as far as a company, like emails and things like that. You'll never ever hear back from them. But I do like this Gen 2 helmet. I like how it fits, and I like the padding. So the padding in this one is a memory foam pad. You can get, there's a bunch of different types of pads out there. Then there's different types of suspension systems out there. I'm not gonna get into all of those, but this has like a ratchet retention where you spin this dial, it goes down tight to your head, and then you have the chin strap, which I wear under my chin, not on my chin. But this is the area where people really need to, in my opinion, mess around with their helmet. If you've never taken these pads out and rearranged them and cut some down, take some out, put different ones in, things like that, you haven't worn your helmet enough. I've never met anybody that has worn a helmet for any serious amount of time that doesn't screw with the inside of their helmet. You really need to customize this for you in order to avoid as many hot spots and headaches and things like that as possible. I've done that with this. I've added padding on the crown. I've bought pad sets from Ballistic Armor Co. and replaced pads that they had in certain places with other various size pads and things like that. So the padding on the inside is going to be very personal to you, and I suggest taking as long as you could possibly need in order to mess around with the inside of that helmet. Now, speaking of pads, since I'm showing the pads and the ears right now, some people will leave the headband on their ears and actually take a pad out and leave their ears on their head and then put their helmet over it. That works as well. Moving over, I'm gonna go take the bump helmet here real quick. So the bump helmet just has a slide belt type system, just an adjustment plastic piece here with a crown, or like the back of the head pad here, and of course the suspension system is completely adjustable for height on both sides here. This, I obviously have it a little bit differently. I have some different pads here, replaced it with some Ballistic Armor Co. pads there, and set this up real nice for me. So they serve much the same function as far as carrying stuff. Arc rails, night vision mount, chin strap, suspension system, some sort of a system that tightens it down to your head, and then the padding. So the makeup of them, outside of one being ballistic and one being bump, are very much the same. Now, outside of the ballistic protection, two of the biggest differences between helmets like this are a ballistic helmet is generally going to be 3 to 5, maybe 6 times as expensive as a bump helmet. It's also going to be considerably heavier than a bump helmet. So if you think you don't need the ballistic protection, if this is something like a LARPing range toy for you, you're just going to be doing like night vision, YouTube videos, stuff like that, a bump helmet may be for you. Again, if you don't think you need ballistic protection and you're doing more than just LARPing for YouTube, then a bump helmet may be for you as well. Of course, if you think you are going to need the ballistic protection or want the ballistic protection, a ballistic helmet is for you. It is my opinion that if you're going to buy one, buy both. That's my opinion. Only because depending on how much you're going to use them and for what purposes, you may end up where I don't need the ballistic helmet for this, I'm going to use the bump helmet. You may be in a situation where you're willing to sacrifice the protection for weight. You're willing to sacrifice the protection for weight, things like that. Bump helmets don't have to be very expensive. Ballistic helmets are always expensive. At least ones of any reasonable build structure and quality are going to be expensive. Some of these ones out there that you see that are like $199 on like Bowtach Tactical, or $200-300. I have not seen one of those that I would own. This one here comes in at around $6, and this came in at around $80, I think, right around that, $70. So that kind of gives you, and it goes up from there. So these are as low in the price ranges that I could get, that I could find based on research and other people's experience, and stick with a certain level of quality that I could trust. So that's the basic rundown of ballistic versus bump helmet. Which one's best for you? I don't know. Again, I could, and it is my opinion that if you're gonna have one, why not have both? Getting a bump lid doesn't have to be a very expensive venture, and it is a nice alternative to the ballistic if you are in a situation where you don't need the ballistic protection, you don't need the extra weight of the ballistic helmet, but you still need your night vision capabilities or comms capabilities, things like that. So I do think that if you're going to get one, get both. That's just my opinion. That may not be your opinion, and that's fine. All right, I'd like to thank all my supporters out there. Members of the channel, you guys are awesome. My Ko-Fi members, you guys kick ass. If you want to support the channel other than the free ways of liking, sharing, and subscribing, you can go and hit up either one of those sources. They're very inexpensive. You get members-only previews, other members-only videos and posts and things of that nature. Thank you guys, and we'll talk to you later.